How has it gone wrong already? Oh, that feels nice. It just feels so gross. Oh my God. What an idiot. Whee! I don't have the energy for this. Don't like it, don't like it. Here we go again. My nemesis in the baking world is bread, and we're gonna make it again. We're gonna try hot cross buns. I don't know why, but whenever I try and make bread, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't prove, it doesn't rise. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And because I don't know what I'm doing wrong, I don't know how to fix it or improve it, but every single time I try making bread, it is a disaster. So we're gonna try again. We're following a Paul Hollywood recipe because if anyone's gonna give me any chance of making bread, it's gonna be Paul Hollywood. The other thing with bread is, why does it take so long? Like, this video is gonna take me about 4 or 5 hours to film because you just have to prove it and then prove it and prove it and make it and cook it, and it just takes so long. And also, it's so expensive to get all of these ingredients. I'll put a price on the screen because I can't remember. And I appreciate that this is going to make more than just your standard pack of 4 that you can get in a supermarket, and you can keep using these ingredients. But time and effort and energy and money right now, this is a no. Okay, here we go. So first thing I need to do is put my milk and butter on to heat up. So I need 300 ml of full fat milk. Bring 300 ml of full fat milk to the boil, then remove from the heat and add 50 grams of butter. So let's get this boiling first. In the meantime, I'm gonna weigh out my 50 grams of butter. 57, bit too much. That is boiling, definitely boiling. Calm down. I've switched you off. Then I add in my 50 grams of butter. Guessing you can just do it in one go. Stir that in. Have I burnt the butter? Oh my God. Oh, I've burnt the milk. How has it gone wrong already? I'm like 3 minutes in. I don't think I've got enough milk. Oh, brilliant. I was just thinking, why does it smell of burning? And then I looked in the pan and it's literally just full of burnt milk. What to do now? I mean, look at that. How have I burnt it so quickly? It wasn't even on that long. Is it gonna taste burnt? I don't know what to do now. I don't think I've got enough milk. I'm gonna have to use this and then strain it, I think. God's sake. Let's get a jug. This is what I mean by making bread. When I make cakes and cookies and everything else, nothing goes wrong. As soon as I make bread, it's like it's cursed. I cannot believe I've just burnt milk, honestly. What an idiot. So let's leave that to one side to cool and get rid of all of this. Next step is to put 500 grams of bread flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 75 grams of caster sugar and 7 grams of yeast into a bowl. Let's do that. 500 grams of flour. It doesn't say to sieve it, so I'm not going to. Feels like a lot of salt. 1 teaspoon of salt, 75 grams of caster sugar and 7 gram sachet of yeast. Make a well in the center, pour in the warm milk and butter mixture, then add 1 beaten egg using a wooden spoon. Mix well, then bring everything together with your hands. I hate using my hands to mix stuff. Reason number, what are we on, 3, 4 for not making bread? It doesn't say to mix this. I feel like we want to mix this, but it doesn't say to mix it. Okay, I'm just going to make a well then. Then adding in our burnt warm butter mixture. I'm not sure burnt is an ingredient on the recipe, but that's where we've headed with it. I mean, what's the point of making a well? Then we've got to stir it all together. I see why you beat the egg now before you add it. Just don't have the energy for it either. I really don't want to bring it together with my hands, so I'm really trying not to. That'll do, donkey, that'll do. Oh, I'm out of breath. Okay, so it says to then knead it on a lightly floured work surface, but I can barely stir it without getting out of breath, so I'm going to do mine with the KitchenAid and a dough hook. I have never used this hook because I never make bread. So this is the first time I'm doing it. Don't really have any idea on how long to do it for. I don't know if it's the same amount of time. I don't know what I'm looking for. So we're just gonna wing it. So it says for 5 minutes until smooth and elastic, but that's by hand. So I don't know, I'm gonna say like a medium speed for 5 minutes and we'll check again. That's been doing its thing for 5 minutes. It looks smooth and elastic, so I'm gonna say it's ready. I don't know. The next step is to put it into a lightly oiled bowl. So let me just oil this all over, and then using the same hand, just gonna get it all off the hook. The oil didn't help that much. Another reason for not making bread, it feels horrible. God, it's heavy. I don't have the energy for this. Oh my gosh, let's try the hands, see if the hands are better. Ish. It just feels so gross. Don't like it, don't like it, don't like it, don't like it. Paul Hollywood says to lightly oil your cling film. He has got high hopes because I don't think that is going to get to that level. But we'll do what Paul Hollywood says and lightly oil it and then put this on top. And then we put it somewhere warm, proof the first time for an hour. And this is what I mean by this video is going to take me 4 or 5 hours to film. I think one of the problems I have with bread is that it never doubles in size. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know if it's the yeast. I don't know if it's not warm enough, but let's see what happens. And I'll see you in an hour. You'll never guess what, it's only gone and bloody risen. So happy and excited. I don't think I've ever got to this stage. Doubled in volume, and it also says when you put your finger onto it, it should leave a dent, which it does. So I think it's ready for the next stage. We've come a long way since the burnt milk. You then need to add all of your fruits in. So it's sultanas, mixed peel, orange zest, and it should be apple, but I've forgotten to get an apple. So I've just added some more sultanas in here. I'm going to give it a good stir. There's also mixed spice in this and cinnamon as well. It smells like Christmas. Not Easter, but Christmas. It smells amazing. Then it says you can use this bowl to mix everything in, but it's covered in oil, so I don't really know what to do. I feel like the right thing to do is take it out. I'm gonna tip it out and then just very gently mix it all in. Whee! Oh, that feels nice. So if I tip all of this in, and then if I try and mix it in somehow, kneading it, I guess. It just says to mix it in until it's all well distributed. I feel like maybe I should have mixed a bit, folded it, and then mixed some more in. I feel like it's pretty much there. Then we get our bowl again that is already lightly oiled. Pop it back in. So again, we leave it in a warm place and let it proof for an hour. Hopefully it doubles in volume again. And then I think we can divide it up and then we leave it for a third proof. So it's a very, very long process to make hot cross buns. So I'll see you in another hour. We are 2 for 2. That rose a lot as well, even more than the first time. Next step, this is taking so long. Divide the dough into 15 even pieces, about 75 grams per piece. Roll each piece into a smooth ball on a lightly floured work surface. Arrange the buns on 1 or 2 baking trays lined with parchment, leaving enough space for the dough to expand. Cover with more oiled cling film, then set aside to proof for 1 hour more. Let me flour the worktop and turn this out. I really hope these turn out well because I just have never made bread successfully and I really want it to happen. Got my scales here and it says about 75 grams. So if we just divide it a little bit first to give us a bit of a rough idea of how much we might need. 57, 73, 67. I feel like I'm not going to have enough mixture with how we've started, but I feel like I'd rather do less hot cross buns and a better size, I think. I suppose it's because I've not got the apple in. I wonder if that's why. Maybe. 26, they're all roughly the same, so just divide this last little bit between them. How many did that get us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's 1 less, but fine with that. And then grab our baking trays. You need to leave them with some space so they can prove again. And we very lightly top them with cling film, put them in the warm place again for another hour, and then we can finally bake them. So I'll see you in another hour. Okay, it's been another hour. They have almost finished proving. I have put the oven on 180 degrees Celsius, ready to start heating up. The next bit is to create the flour mixture that goes on top of the hot cross bun and gives it that distinctive cross shape. So I've got 75 grams of plain flour, and then it says to add 5 tablespoons of water, but do it quite slowly, in the sense of like don't add it all at one time because you might not need it. So I'm going to start off with 3. Definitely needs more. 4. Still gonna need more. 5. Still Still gonna need more. Don't think we're that far off though. It's starting to get a bit sticky because it needs to be pipeable. Maybe I'm doing the wrong kind of texture, but I'm just going by feel, really. Okay, that feels pretty good. So these are the hot cross buns. They have definitely grown in size. My only worry is that they're very misshapen. So I feel like they're going to be misshapen when I cook them, but I also don't want to play with them too much because it's going to affect the texture. I think that's the best I can do, really, without messing around with them too much. Okay, so then we get our flour mixture, chop the end off, and then we do a cross. And it says to go right to the sides as well. That's what I'm trying to do. Oh, this one's very misshapen. At the end of the day, I'm not very good at making bread, as we have established. So if these turn out just vaguely resembling hot cross buns, I'm going to be very happy. I don't care if they're a bit higgledy-piggledy. As long as they've got a similar texture, taste like them and look like them, then happy Alisha. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but I don't actually like hot cross buns. Yeah. Matt loves them though, so he's going to be very happy when he gets home from work and sees that there's hopefully some edible hot cross buns. This one I've poked around too much and it's lost its shape, so the texture of that one might not be great. You definitely don't need this much mixture, which makes me slightly concerned that I've done something wrong. Either the hot cross buns aren't big enough, or I know I'm missing one, but that's a lot of mixture left. Then what do? I'm guessing we just bake them. Yep, we bake them for 18 to 20 minutes, middle shelf until golden brown. Wish me luck. They kind of look like hot cross buns. I mean, I don't think you could sell them in a supermarket. They're not very uniform. They're very misshapen, but they're something. They're probably the best bread I've ever made. So you now have to heat some apricot jam and cover them whilst they're still warm to create that gloss. My worry is that they feel a little bit dense, which I suppose isn't surprising for my level of bread baking. I mean, this one looks pretty good, doesn't it? The other thing is, how do you know when it's done, other than it being golden brown? Because with cakes, you can test them, but with these, how do you know? I just hope they're okay. I mean, they're gonna be edible, right? Surely they're gonna pass as edible. Also, how do you stop the sultanas burning? Because when they're at the top, they've just obviously like burnt. I very much welcome tips in the comments. Please help me with bread, someone. We'll let them cool, and then once they're cooled, we'll cut into a couple and see if any of them are edible, or even better than edible, actually okay. We are finally done. Started this video at just past 1 o'clock and it is almost 7 o'clock. Have had dinner in between. It's been a long video to say the least. I really hope they are worth it. So let's cut into one that looks decent, and then we'll cut into one that I think I've messed around with and probably not as great. So let's cut into this one. She says, not very elegantly. Ta-da! Oh, that actually looks okay. Springing back. It's not leaving any thumb marks or anything. I think that's a pretty good texture for bread. Yes. Then let's try this one. I'm going to cut this one just down here because it's a bit of a weird shape. That's not bad either. I think it's a bit of a more close texture compared to the other one. Got a bit of a slower spring to it, but I think it's still okay. I'm very impressed with the texture. I think that's the best bread I've ever made, which isn't a hard thing to achieve because I'm shocking at making bread. Let's try it, which I don't usually like hot cross buns, but let's give it a go. I'm actually really impressed with myself. Even on this one, the texture is really good. Like, it's a crispy shell and then really soft in the middle. You get the flavours of the mixed spice and the cinnamon in it. You know what? I think I've done pretty well there. Maybe I'm a bread baker now. Oh, what a good way to end a Monday. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.